Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we are once again discussing Extreme Sisters. This is season 1, episode 5, called No Secrets Between Sisters. I can't believe we're already on episode 5. That was quick. It's always something popping off. Anyway, I have discussed other episodes. Be in the eye, be down below on my channel in general. Sorry about that. Brothers, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, so yeah, let's just hop right into it. Of course something happened. Anyway, let's just hop right into it. So first up we have Patrix and Patrika, and if you remember last episode and previous episodes, honestly, Ron had this brilliant idea that he should set up Patrika and Patrix. That he should set up Patrix because that will get her to kind of delay the whole Orlando thing. And so they decided last episode, they told us that she was going to go on a date with a guy named Hojo. Apparently they had known Hojo. Apparently Hojo had been interested in Patrix before, but nothing really came to fruition. So now Ron has heard through the grapevine, whatever, that Hojo is interested. So they decided to do a double date. Now last recap, I said she must have been so excited because she was literally like grinning from ear to ear when she found out that Hojo was interested. Yeah, about that date. So before we get to that, so they're going on a double date, and I can relate so much because they kind of showed like a 5-minute clip of her, you know, trying on different outfits to see what looks good, and then she's trying to like shimmy into her pants and stuff, and I can relate to that, honestly. You know, you do the whole jump up and pull up the pants at the same time so that they fit, and then changing the outfits. That happens to me a lot, where I mean, I don't have an extensive amount of clothing, but I have probably too much, as my father would say, because I'm always like, no, this doesn't look good, this doesn't look good, this doesn't look good, and like, you know, everyone relates to that. And I guess Patrix actually revealed that, the way that she put it, I actually love it. She said she likes some vanilla in her swirl. So I think that's the best way to say that she is interested in Hojo. So they had the date. Everyone was all dressed up. Everyone looked beautiful. Okay, first of all, side note, Ron out here in like a hat, you know, a sweater, some like, where was this Ron? The only Ron we've ever seen is like a polo shirt and jeans, but this Ron is all dressed up, and I'm like, okay, Ron looks, you know, put together. Ron looks nice. So then Hojo shows up. Hojo is Hojo, you know what I'm saying? So he shows up, and at, you know, the confessional, Patrix says, you know, he's cute and whatever. She's like, he's the type that I would normally look at physically. And then they get into the date, and I don't know if he was just nervous. You know, when you're nervous, sometimes you talk a lot. You know, that's what some people do when they're nervous. Either you shut down or you talk a lot. So Hojo goes on these tangents talking about jail and how he wouldn't mind spending a couple of days in jail. I don't really know what Hojo was talking about. It really was not making sense at the beginning of it, or the end of it for that matter. And you could tell that the more he was talking, it was like Patrix was like slowly losing interest. Like he was not doing himself any favors. He was sitting on the side of her, and it's like every time he opened her mouth, her face was kind of like, or her eyes were kind of like, what is this man saying? And it was just, you know, they were trying to laugh along, but at the end of the day, it was so awkward. So awkward. And Ron said the perfect thing to kind of summarize Hojo, and he said, we got a live one here. And I was like, that is the perfect way to describe how this date was going. As I said, Hojo was talking the entire date. He was kind of leading the conversation. Like, there's never going to be a dull moment when you're with Hojo. There's never going to be awkward silence, but you might not be able to get a word in edgewise as well when you're with Hojo. So the sisters went to the bathroom, and they talked about Hojo, and at the end of it, she kind of said that she wasn't feeling it, but he did give her a kiss on the cheek. I think like 2 kisses on the cheek, to be honest. And he said he had a great night and he hopes to do it again sometime. And I'm like, wow, people really interpret dates differently. Like, one person could really think that things are going well and the other person is just like completely disinterested. And I just thought that to be very interesting. Yeah. So that was her date. Needless to say, I think Orlando is shining its lights right now, and she's just like, get me to Orlando as quickly as possible, because this was not it at all. Good try though, Ron. It was a good plan, but like I said, I felt like Ron should have like not told her about his whole plan. I feel like he should have just like had some guy run into her at a grocery store and sweep her off her feet that way. But that's besides the point. Plan failed. Orlando, here I come. Not me, but Patrix. Okay, onward to Anna and Lucy. So, last episode they did not get great news about their plans for having a baby from the fertility doctor. He basically said that naturally their chances aren't great, and IVF is kind of not an option unless they write an appeal to some special counsel saying that they should be approved for IVF. So they decided to do things naturally, and they look on the internet, the University of Google, and they read about something that if your temperature is up, that means that you are ovulating. And that just reminded me like that modern fertility thing that you see so many people advertising. I wonder if it's something like that. Like, they said that they checked their temperature every morning, and as soon as it went up, that meant that they were ovulating. And I don't know anything about that, to be honest. I mean, I have a period tracking app, and it literally tells me, low chance of fertility, high chance of fertility, ovulating. It tells you all that stuff. So I'm like, y'all could have bypassed all of that stuff and just got a period app. But I guess if University of Google tells you otherwise, do what needs to be done. So anyway, they found out that they were ovulating, and they were very excited because both of their temperatures went up and it came in at the same temperature. So they called Ben over and they got too busy working, doing the horizontal cha-cha, and yeah, afterwards, so the camera crew like left, and then afterwards when they came in, their legs were up on the wall, and they were, I don't know, that makes no sense, but basically they had their legs up on the wall and they were lying on their backs on the bed, so that they said that increased their chances of fertility, and the sperm were swimming faster. I don't know. I've only seen that happen once in a movie. I don't know why the movie Lifeguard comes to mind, but I don't think that that's true. I feel like it is, though. The one, I don't know. I might be mixing up my movies, to be honest, but yeah, they're trying to increase their chances of being pregnant, and they actually said while they're sitting there, they're like, we feel pregnant, we have the pregnancy glow, they're eating pineapple to try and help the situation, so they just really want that baby. And my whole thing is talk about pressure for Mr. Benjamin. I mean, yeah, he is under a lot of pressure to perform and perform well. You know what I'm saying? So I guess every Sunday, or was it Saturday, not sure of the exact day, they do like a tanning routine where they pretty much get down to their skivvies and they put on gloves and they do a tanning routine. And pro tip, please invest in a tanning glove, because someone mentioned that it comes out streaky, and it's like, yeah, you're literally using vinyl gloves to put on tanner. And also I wasn't looking like too crazily, but it looked like they stopped midway down their back for the tan. I was very confused. Also, their feet are extra tan than their, you know, yeah. That needed some work. But who am I? Like, I've done the fake tan before, and you know, my knuckles are completely different, or my ankles are completely different. I kind of try to lay away from that because I'm not a professional at it. Also, yeah, I mean, and then you have to like match your makeup to your tan, which is like a whole nother tangent. I already can't match my makeup to my regular, you know, color or regular pigment of my neck and stuff like that. So to now add tan to it, it's too much work. Like I will be light. I'll be pale. I can't consider myself kind of pale because, you know, whatever. This light is, you know, helping me a lot, but I'm usually pretty pale. But yeah, I will just be pale, to be honest. I cannot get the self tanner thing correct. I can't. Anyway. So they ended up taking the pregnancy test, and it turns out that they were not pregnant. And they kind of looked at it as, at least we're not pregnant at different times. You know, at least one's not pregnant and the other one is pregnant kind of situation. But I kind of wonder, what would you do if that was the case? What would you do if one of you were pregnant and the other wasn't? You know, that's a whole nother thing that they have to figure out. So, yeah. Next week, they kind of talked to Ben about the marriage and kids, and he doesn't view marriage the way that they do. He was like, it's just a piece of paper, isn't it? And I was like, yikes. 10 years in and your partner doesn't really feel the same as marriage as you do. So gotta discuss those things before you get into a relationship. That way you're on the same page, you know. It's kind of an important topic. Anyway, onward to Brooke and Bailey. Why am I saying Brooklyn? Brooke and Bailey. So, Bailey and her husband, Bailey and her boyfriend, Briar, have been together for 4 years. And they are actually in a premarital counseling class. Now, I did not know that that was an option, to do premarital counseling before you are even engaged. Now that I think about it, I feel like it's a good idea, I guess, because you're kind of getting to know the person before you even make that commitment step of engagement. You know, if you're not compatible before you get engaged, like, why would you get engaged? Much less, why would you get married? So I guess it makes sense, but it was just really weird to hear. Like, do they have to go to counseling once they're engaged? I guess not, but maybe. Who knows? Anyway, so they kind of got, I don't want to say into it, but they definitely had a discussion about the fact that Briar does not like that Brooke is very involved in their relationship. He made it very clear. He was like, if I marry you, I'm marrying you. It's not me, you, and Brooke. I keep wanting to call her Brooklyn. He basically said it's not, Brooke is not going to be in our marriage. And they were both like, what? What do you mean? It's all three of us. And I'm like, why do y'all need to be so close and involved in each other's relationship? Like, why? And he kind of pointed out, like, you guys do it with Denver, and he's like, I'm not putting up with it. And Brooke was like, oh, you know, you have to know what you're getting into. Yeah, he does, but he's trying to stop it before it even happens. Like, one of the questions was, if you have a conflict with your spouse, like, how much do you involve other people? And she was like, well, I would tell my sister. And I'm like, and he's trying to say, no, we resolve it. You know, we don't talk to your family about conflicts between our relationship. And she was not, like, getting that at all. Which I have heard this before. I've heard, like, if you do have conflict with your spouse, don't necessarily tell your family the entirety of it or even any of it, because if you decide to forgive your spouse, your family doesn't. So then there's always going to be that tension. It's like some things you really need to keep close to the vest because your family is not going to be as forgiving as you. I don't know if that meant necessarily dealt with cheating, but I think it just with everything involved in a relationship, you know, keep it between husband and keep it between your spouse. So yeah, and it makes sense. So yeah, Briar also said that he feels like he's been called to be a youth pastor, and he is willing to go wherever that leads him. He says whether that means that I get a job right out of school, whether that means I go to seminary, he is ready and willing to move wherever to be a youth pastor. And the family is not really feeling that. Bailey was like, no, we're going to stay in Oklahoma. Brooke was like, no, we're going to stay in Oklahoma. Yeah, that's definitely a tough one. Not everyone wants to move away from family. So that is also a very important thing to discuss with your significant other if they are ever willing to move, because that can definitely happen. And some people just want to stay put. Some people don't want to move. So yeah. Not realistic marriage was just Briar. Yeah. Once again, Brooke makes these like offhanded comments that makes no sense. She's like, it's just not realistic if there's a marriage was just Briar and Bailey. And I'm like, not realistic? What does that mean? Like, set a divide, boundaries, like stay out of people's business. Come. Who am I to talk? Okay, last but not least, we have Jessica and Christina. So, hold up 1 minute. Hey. So, Mike feels like him and Jessica can get back together. Excuse me. On the grounds that Jessica and Christina formed boundaries. So he was like, they went to the pumpkin patch with the kiddos, and John was there, and Christina was there, and all the kids were there, and stuff like that. And Mike was like, you know, kissing Jessica's forehead and hugging up on her, and everyone noticed. And so he's like, I definitely feel like we could get back together. And she kind of plays it off, she laughs it off, but I feel like she's feeling it. I feel like she's like, but like he said, she needs to cut ties with Christina. So John was interacting with like the kiddos, and Jessica noticed that, and she was very happy with the way that he was interacting with the kids. She's like, he's getting brownie points for that, which is true. You know, one of the points that she harped upon when they had their big argument was the fact that he has never lived with a mom and like with a mom and her children, and he's like, well, obviously I'm going to learn to do that with your sister. So he's obviously doing a good job. And then all of a sudden a black chicken appeared, and according to everyone, that's bad luck. And so they were like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? Like, something bad's going to happen. And sure enough, something popped off. So it was kind of revealed that the way that we see Jessica coming across is very like, I don't want to say controlling, but a little bit controlling of the situation. She's very my way or the highway. Like, she's very you shouldn't be giving him so much attention type of situation. And she said that the way that she is with John, Christina used to be that way with Mike. And she's like, now it's just a role reversal. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe Christina needed to be on the other side to see that that wasn't the way to roll. So I'm not really sure the point. Well, I get the point that she was trying to make, like, how is Christina changing now when this is how she used to be? But maybe she just got into the right relationship and she realized this isn't healthy anymore. Maybe John kind of pointed out, like, hey, this isn't healthy type of situation, so we need to change it or we're going to break up. Maybe that's what happened. I don't know. It just seems like Jessica does not want to change the dynamics of the relationship at all. At all. So, one of the reasons that Mike kind of pointed out was the fact that the sisters every single night apparently used to get in this old minivan and sit down in the driveway and just talk all hours of the night. And he was like, I just felt very isolated. I felt very alone. Like, y'all would have this time together and I wasn't a part of it. And he didn't like it at all, which is understandable. Like, every single night you're seeing your sister and y'all are talking for Lord knows how long in the back of the minivan. Like, what are you guys talking about? What are you guys doing? And you're isolating yourself from your husband and child and stuff like that. Like, what purpose? And I'm sure that they were seeing each other throughout the day as well. Like, that's a lot. That's a lot. Anyway. So yeah, needless to say, things popped off between Jessica and John as per usual. And he's just like, Christina's changing. And she's like, no, that's not okay. And John is kind of just like, let her be who she wants to be. And she's like, no, like, if she doesn't want to be around you 24/7, she doesn't want to be around you 24/7. Jeez Louise. And Christina is just like, let me love who I want to love. And she's like, I can love who I want to love. She's like, I love you. I'm just not gonna make you my priority anymore. Like, I want to build something with John is what she's trying to say. And Jessica's response to that was, oh, I'm not gonna put you on a pedestal anymore. I'm just like, why is she on a pedestal in the first place? Like, yeah, I don't get these two. They're arguing. Like, I get it, but I don't get it. I get it, but I don't get it. But anyway, that was the end of the episode. It's the same thing over and over again. Anyway, thank you for watching. Like this video, comment below, subscribe to my channel. That's it. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.